Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do some random technical analysis. I'm going to throw some commodities in there. I know some people wanted to see lumber, what lumber's doing. I can show lumber. I'm doing a big picture view of lumber, and I'll kind of give you my financial opinion. Again, they're just opinions. Do not take it as advice, please. And then I'm going to go into, I think it's mainly, I go into some ETFs at the end. So it's commodity prices and some ETFs. So here we go. Let's see what I've got here. I call this random just because it's a bunch of random commodities and ETFs. So here's lumber. Why did lumber go up so much? So I can tell you why. This is the 80s back here, and then we got into the 90s. We got this huge pattern from the 90s all the way back. It broke out, back tested with the COVID, actually back tested before COVID. We had the COVID sell-off, and then bam, it broke out and just absolutely launched from a 30-year, basically a 30-year downtrend pattern, and it broke. Now we're coming back and finding some support in here, but a big old break. Would I buy lumber right here? I don't know. I'm not a huge lumber guy. I don't know as much about lumber, but I bet you it's going to stick out around here for a little while. That's my guess. Oil's pulling on back. We've got 3 up days in a row. It's starting to contract. The opening and closing prices are getting smaller and smaller. We're starting to equal some sellers. We could see this kind of come up and then throw a couple down, like 2 small down days, and then maybe head on higher. That's kind of my guess. Natural gas is still holding strong in its uptrend, looking very good on the big picture view. Copper, looking at this on the short term, just at this over here, we've got the move on down. We put a wick. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 down days and 4 up days. But the difference is to the downside. We're seeing contractions in the body lengths coming up where the buyers are equaling the sellers. I think this is going to roll over and sell off in the short term for copper. So I think we're going to see this come up and then sell off over the next couple of days. I have to see what the sell-off looks like. I'm hoping for maybe a small down day or two. If we come in and we see a big bearish engulfing pattern here or some big move, look for some downward pressure here over the short term. Tin on a big long-term perspective shot higher massively and is doing a little back test. We'll see if this thing holds and moves on higher eventually. But I think overall we're going to see probably moves higher over time. You can see the moves, how this move kind of went up, sideways, up, came back, and then launched higher. This was a first wave, third wave, and a fifth wave of Elliott wave, and then you went through this consolidation period. Usually you get like this move here, and then you get an up and over hump, and then it takes off. This move here, this pattern, I think is developing in solar right now. Just an FYI. Nickel, and if you look at this pattern, how this comes down, nickel's got this same pattern. It's forming, and I think we're going to see maybe a move higher at some point shortly. And then another thing to look at some of these patterns, just an FYI as well, uranium, I don't have uranium here. Uranium did this double hump and then the zigzag, and then it launches higher. Nickel did this last time in this bull market. Iron ore is kind of doing a back test. It broke out and kind of is back testing its breakout here for iron ore. Going into some of the ETFs, just to show you from a little bit different viewpoint. XLE, we're still going in this downtrend. It's coming up. We have to watch to see if it breaks or if it kind of rolls over and we're staying the downtrend. Global copper miners is still in a downtrend. It looks like we're contracting. Looks like I'm guessing this is going to head lower here. Now, North Shore Global Uranium Mining, it broke its downtrend barely. I'd like to see a very small sell-off and stay above its downtrend line. And then eventually the buyers step in and punch it higher. But we'll see what happens. I mean, if we get sellers to come in and it goes back below the downtrend line, just like copper, and we'll see what energy does. But we may still be in the downtrend if the sellers come in and sell this off. Here's rare earth metals ETF. This guy's moving sideways. It's looking like it's moving on up, and we're starting an uptrend. That's looking pretty good. And here's solar. This is TAN, T-A-N. We're still in a downtrend. Usually what you do is you get this first sell-off. You get this other kind of hump deal. I'll show you what it looks like here if we go back. Yeah, here's one. Here it is. You get this sell-off first, and then you get this hump. And then you get this kind of zigzaggy move. I think TAN is doing that right now, where you get this sell-off, you get this kind of hump move, and then it's going to do this zigzag, and then up higher and a break. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. That's what I'm hoping for. For today, hopefully this gives you a little bit better picture of some of the other commodities that I don't go over on a daily basis, and in some of the ETFs. I like TAN. I'd like to see this thing break that downtrend, $97.50, $98, or no, $87.50, $90. We break that to the upside. I think we're going to be moving for a little bit. And then eventually, when it loses steam and the chart looks like it wants to turn around, I'm going to put it into a free ride and let my profits ride. And I got a nice, good old position in TAN. Hopefully it works out that way. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I come out with a small loss. But let's see what happens. If you guys like this analysis, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.